Hey everybody, this is Mike with Birdman Gaming, and we are continuing on through our Commander series here, and we are in week 2. Now, I don't know if I'm going to actually keep this deck current in its current iteration or at all for that matter. However, the creature himself is something I've been wanting to play around with and toy around with since I initially found out about him. And that is Volo. He's kind of silly whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with something else that you've already got either in play or in your graveyard. You get another copy put on the stack. So I decided, let's go ahead and have some fun with this. I had already bought the blue-green commander deck from Strixhaven. So I'm like, I'll go ahead and toy around and try and see what I have in my binders. And I have yet to actually play the deck, so I don't know how well it's going to run or anything. But I put it together, and like I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. But it looks fun. And I do have one card that I could add in, and that is a Primal Vigor from the Secret Lair drops that I got. So, we'll see. So that's the commander. And we're going to start off with what creatures I'm running. Now, a lot of these creatures, I do have multiple types in the creatures, of course. So, we will start off with creatures. The Bird Wizard. Now, with Volo, he doesn't double, but he lets me have no max hand size, and whenever a token I control deals combat damage to a player, I draw a card. So, he's card draw. Terastodon, of course. If I get up to the mana, I get to destroy things. And having 2 enter is even better. Essex Fractal Bloom. This is one of the cards actually from the deck itself. First time I would create one or more tokens during each of my turns, I may instead choose a creature other than him and create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. So if I have a token producer, instead I make other tokens instead, which is good. Elder Gargaroth. He makes creature tokens. He also gains life or draws cards, depending on what I need. Clever Impersonator. He is a copy of something. Wandering Archaic. Whenever an opponent casts instant or sorcery, they may pay 2. If they don't, I get a copy of it. Having 2 of these in play is very oppressive. So they cast the Swords to Plowshares. They have to pay 4 additional, or else I get the Swords one of their things. Or 2 of their things, rather. Varus. Whenever I cast a creature, if it's the first one I cast that turn, or Planeswalker, I venture into the dungeon. He also has Reach and Ward 1. And whenever you complete a dungeon, you get a 2/2 wolf. Or, with Essex in play, you get a Elder Gargaroth. Desolation Twin. Whenever you cast him, you get another 10/10 on top. Master Biomancer. Each creature you control that enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to his power, and as a mutant in addition to its other types. So as they enter as mutants. Hornet Queen. Flying Death Touch and creates 4 insects. Sorry about that. The house phone was ringing, so I had to answer it. Neverwinter Hydra, just good solid Hydra. Crafty cut purse from the deck. Enters the battlefield. Each token that would be created under an opponent's control this turn is created under your control instead and has flash. Great little. Oh, you're playing tokens? No, I am. Coiling Oracle enters the battlefield. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. Good card. Basically pumps your commander. Commanders have hexproof and has flash. Good card. Idle Oblivion should have actually been with my artifacts, but that's okay. He lets you draw a card only if you have a token. Sacrifice him, create a 10/10. Reef Worm. When it dies, create a 3/3 blue fish token with, when it dies, create a 6/6 blue whale with, when it dies, create a 9/9 blue kraken. Biomathematician. When he enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green-blue fractal creature token. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each fractal you control. Riddle Keeper. When a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller puts the top 2 cards of their library in their graveyard. Old Gnawbone. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Incubation Druid. Add 1 mana of any color, any type that a land you control could produce. If he has +1/+1 counter, add 3 of that type instead. And he has Adapt. Scoot Swarm. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. This card is busted. I've been playing it in Arena, playing Historic Brawl, and I've been playing Mutate. And just mutate onto him, play a land, get a copy that's mutated, blah, 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 blah. Rinse, repeat. Real dumb. Crystalline Crawler, Converge. He enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. Remove a 1/1 counter from him. Add 1 mana of any color. Tap. Put a +1/+1 counter on him. Plaxcaster Frogling. Graft 3. Target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it gains Shroud until end of turn. Augmenter Pugilist. Trample. As long as you control 8 or more lands, he gets +5/+5. Lonus. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. Which means I put a token into play. Sacrifice X clue tokens. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of their library. I may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield under my control. Then they put the rest on the bottom in any order. Forgotten Ancient. Whenever a player casts a spell, I may put a +1/+1 counter on him. At the beginning of my upkeep, I may remove any number of 1/1 counters from him to something else. Rampaging Balos. Trample. 6/6. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, I get a 4/4 beast token. Adrix and Nev Twincaster. Ward 2. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. And the last creature is a Neverwinter Hydra. As it enters the battlefield, roll X d6s. It enters with the number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the total of those results. Trample. Ward 4. So, say you put 4 counters on it, or pay a total of 10 mana. 2 green and 4 and 4. You roll 4 d6s. That's a maximum 24/24 with Trample and Ward 4. Dumb. Okay, now we're going to go into our enchantment spread. Enchantments are really quick and to the point. Paradox Zone enters the battlefield with gross counter on it at the beginning of my end step, double the amount of counters on it. Then create a 0/0 green blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of growth counters on them. Then we have, that was not going to be next, so we'll go here first. At the beginning of my upkeep, draw a card if I control a creature with the greatest power amongst all creatures on the battlefield. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature I control. Then we have Doubling Season. Of course, it doesn't need to be discussed. Same with Parallel Lives. Token doublers. Next, we will go through our Incense and Sorceries. Basically, create a token of something that's entering. Trample, or is it? No. It's just pump or card draw. Create a copy. Artifact and enchantment destruction. Creature destruction. A counterspell. Making more copies of stuff. Creature, actually anything destruction. Life gain or bounce or shuffling my yard or searching for a creature. Choose 2. Mana ramp. Mana ramp. Making clones. Making clones. Making tokens. Removal. Ramp. And making tokens. It's actually an artifact, so that's going to be our next section. So we have making tokens, and it's an equipment. Signet for mana fixing. Soul Talisman. Signet. Boots. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, put any number of charge counters on it. Where it's that spell's mana value, remove all charge counters on it to make a token. And Soul Ring. Next is our 3... Is it 3 Planeswalkers? Yeah, 3 Planeswalkers. We've got a Kasmina, which I don't know if it'll actually go in or stay out or what yet. I haven't decided. Eliwick Tumblestrum. Lets me get dudes or dungeon crawl. And of course, this guy came with the blue-green deck. He makes tokens. Then our non-basics are I'm not going to go through the basic lands, but because this video is getting a little bit long, we got a Temple of Mystery, Study Hall, which came with the deck, and it's an interesting card. Rogue's Passage, because you need that unblockable. You need the pump, Ornery Manland. You have a Maya Coast, because mana fixing is important. Mana ramp is important. Having no maximum hand size is important. Mana fixing is important. Again, mana fixing is important. Mana fixing is very important. Myriad Landscape. Ramp. This is either going to be green or it's going to put a +1/+1 counter on something. Fixing and Scry. Fixing and silliness. And like I said, I'm not going to go into just the basic forests and islands. They're not any special prints or anything, so that is Volo. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy the series. Like I said at the beginning of this one, I don't know if I'm actually going to keep this deck or I'm going to piece it out into other decks or what yet. It's just something I wanted to toy around with, so I'll probably play it at the next time I'm actually at an LGS. I don't know yet. That will be... Let's see, this video will go up next week, so I still got about a week and 2 days until I'll be at the LGS, so I'm either going to play this or one of my other decks. But it's going to be a fun deck to play anyway. I've got to get used to interactions, and then if I don't like it, I ain't out anything, so I could just piece it out, build something else, or trade pieces for bigger pieces for my other decks. Anyway, with all that being said, I hope y'all are having a great January. I hope y'all are being safe with everything that's going on in the world today. And as always, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be good to one another. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.